welcome to our second Zazzle chat. I'm Liz, I'm back with Monica again to talk about some more of our new products. In case you couldn't tell, we've made a few improvements. Thank you so much for all of your feedback after our first Zazzle chat. It was really great to hear from everyone who was able to tune in. As you can see, we've made a little improvements to our set. We've also updated our streaming service to make sure that everyone can tune in if they would like, and hopefully you can hear us a little bit better as well. So, hi Monica, what's been new since our last Zazzle chat?
Well, we've had a lot of updates. We're always launching new products, but I think one of the most exciting products that we recently launched was our paper relaunch. And paper does such a large volume for us, and a lot of our designers have a lot of paper designs, especially invitations, and so I think this is a really exciting relaunch, and we're excited to share it with you guys.
Great. And what product types are we seeing these new paper options on?
Okay, so I think the biggest change for our designers is there used to be 21 paper types. We've actually looked at kind of the data and narrowed it down to 12. And I know it seems like we're giving consumers less, but we've actually sourced new papers, and it's really about quality over quantity. And so I think all of our papers now are very special and very unique. We've sourced them from Italy. Some of them, a lot of them are USA made, so there's just a lot of great papers that we're excited to, not only for our designers to design on, but for our consumers to get.
Wonderful. And so these are for our invitation specifically, which is one of our most popular product lines. So we're very excited to have these new options. So it looks like we have, of our 12, we've sort of categorized them a little bit into different fields, different categories. So what's the first?
So there's actually, there's 4 collections. There's 12 paper types, 4 collections, and each collection has 3 different types in it. And so there's the signature, the traditional, the artisan, and the luxe. And we'll talk about the signature first.
Great.
The signature is actually kind of our most, probably our most basic one. We have the semi-gloss, which you have there.
So to try and illustrate this to everyone, we have one of our little informational cards about the paper type, and it has a nice color chart on the back, and we actually have an example of one of our invitation designs from our lovely designers.
And the signature is, the semi-gloss. The semi-gloss used to be our default, and I think it's actually the cheapest one, and it's
the most cost effective.
Yeah, most cost effective. It's got a nice little sheen to it.
Let's see if we can get a little bit closer. There's a little bit of a shine to it. And here are all of our color options.
It's 110 in paperweight, and then I think a 15.2 inch thickness.
Give you a little idea of the weight there.
Yeah.
Great.
And then next is our matte paper. Actually, our matte paper is our most popular choice, and it's really ideal for invitations and other paper party essentials. And what I like about it is it's just really smooth and soft. It's like almost has this buttery texture, and it's got an eggshell texture, soft to the touch, and it's not, unlike the semi-gloss, it's matte obviously, and so there's not that shine against photography. It's 120 pounds and 17 point thickness.
So is this a little bit thicker than our semi-gloss
Yeah, it's
option?
just a tiny smidgen thicker. And personally, I think this is one of my favorites when I recently ordered invitations.
Here is the semi-gloss and the matte together. You can get a little more idea of the difference between those.
So yeah, when I ordered my Christmas cards, I actually ordered them in matte.
And this is now our default.
Correct. This is
paper
our
type?
default. You can obviously go and switch it back, but we think the consumer will really like this paper type.
Wonderful. And what's the third paper in our signature collection?
And the third paper is actually the ultra thick. So the ultra thick is just, the name says it, it's really thick, and it's a premium paper choice because it's more expensive, but it's actually 3 of the matte papers hand pressed together. And so when you look at it side by side, you can actually see the three papers. And as a result, you can tell it's like doesn't wiggle as much. It's very solid.
There's a little idea of the thickness.
And it's got a rich, creamy cotton texture. So that is our signature line.
Wonderful.
Next is our traditional line. And our traditional line, I really like it for its textures. So there's three types of papers within the signature line: the linen, laid, and column. So you have the laid. So the laid it's got like a rib texture. It's almost like a watermarking, and it's got like it's a like eggshell white as well. I like the feel, and it's like a very handmade paper. It's 100 pounds, so it's a little thinner than the other ones, but it's 16.5 point thickness because of the texture.
So, let's see, here is in comparison with the matte.
Yeah.
So just a little bit thinner.
And then we
let's
have
see if we can maybe try and see a little bit more of the texture there. It's a little easier to see on the white. Great.
And then we have the linen. And the linen is actually, I really like it. It's got this really nice texture in the paper, and it gives it it's good for like elegant, traditional, conservative weddings, I think. And so it's got this embossed lines. It creates a very timeless
It's
feeling.
reminiscent of canvas to me.
Yeah, looks like a stretched canvas.
Let's see if maybe we can try to see a little bit of the texture there. So we kind of have lines going both ways. It's very similar to our canvas.
Yeah. It's 100 pounds and 12.5 thickness. And lastly, we have the columns. And I think the column is like, I actually like to run my hands, like my fingernails, over the paper. It's got this like, you can hear the sound. It's a cotton blend actually, and it's really timeless. It's obviously horizontal stripes or vertical stripes, whatever way you hold it. But the column again is like more traditional. I think a more traditional bride, a more conservative wedding would feature this kind of paper.
Okay, let's see if maybe we can get a little bit of that. So there's kind of a texture there. You'll see that the texture is horizontal on the vertical and vertical on the horizontal.
Yeah.
Great.
Next we have the Artisan Collection. And the Artisan Collection is a little more fun. It's more a rustic, eclectic, vintage feel. And as you can see, there's three different paper types in this collection. It's the felt white, and the felt ecru. And it's really it's like a canvas for your creativity. I think, mason jar weddings, we've seen those mason jar designs do well. I think those kind of designs would do really well on something like this.
Great.
So the craft has it's an earth tone, and if you look closely at the paper, you can actually see
There are actually fibers within that paper, and you'll see that this natural color really comes through in your design, so you will see that a little darker, but you can definitely make that color of the paper work for you in your design.
Yeah, and it's like a natural looking paper. It's like a craft brown paper, and it's really good for a DIY romantic touch.
Yep. So you'll see that your whites will essentially be that natural color of the paper.
Yeah.
And how about our felt options?
Our felt, so there's obviously the felt white and felt ecru. They're pretty much identical except for the color.
Okay, so same texture, a little different color.
The felt white is obviously the eggshell white, and the ecru is just a little
warmer.
Yeah, and it's just like our napkins. They come in white and then our standard and ecru, and it's a very velvety, soft touch. There's beautiful texture in the paper. I forgot to mention, all our papers are acid free, and so they just they're very ecologically friendly, but
really long lasting.
Yeah, long lasting. And the best part is these papers are actually they're made in the USA, but they're made in the USA using 100% wind powered electricity. So when you buy these, it's really cool in the fact that
be a little more environmentally friendly.
Yeah.
Great.
I think especially for the artsy wedding, I think that's something they'd appreciate. And lastly is the Luxe collection. And the Luxe collection is really special, and it's hard to show this kind of detail online, and so we're excited we can share it with you. But they have the pearl shimmer, the champagne shimmer, and the metallic shimmer, and like the name suggests, it really does have a shimmer. It's like got little glitter specks, and it's like beautiful on these images because it really brings to life and shows dimension. And so
here's an example of our pearl shimmer. So it's got, hopefully you can see it has a nice little shine to it.
Yeah. The pearl shimmer, it's a very smooth, luxurious satin texture, and these are actually imported from Italy, so that sounds fancy in itself.
Yep.
And the white, I would see these as very fancy, glitzy glamour weddings. Obviously, because they are imported from Italy, they are a little more expensive, but I think the bride who wants that princess collection wedding,
maybe a fancy sweet 16 or quinceañera. So here's the difference between our pearl and our champagne. So same sort of similar to our felt white and ecru. One's going to be a little more bright white, one's going to be a little warmer.
Yeah. And I think both are beautiful. And then the metallic silver is very interesting too. But I think you have to take note when you print on this that the backdrop, like the craft the white is actually going to be the silver. And so design with that in mind.
Yeah, something to keep in mind. You see this is going to really come through. You're going to see that darker silver color in your whites.
Yeah. So there you have it. The 12 paper types, 4 different collections. And when we kind of relaunched it, we actually took a lot of photography and we updated our invitations page, if you might have noticed, to the right of the product detail page. And you guys you can learn more about our paper types, and it'll take you to a landing page that has a lot of this information that we just talked about, as well as imagery, so you guys can read up on that more.
And we have really nice close-up photography to try and give you a little more view of the actual texture of the paper. So please feel free to take a look at that. I think it'll really help you out.
And if you guys have any more questions, feel free to kind of tweet us, and we can answer them at the end.
We are on Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us with #ZazzleChat, and we'll take some questions at the end.
Speaking of invitations, we also have these die cuts, which are really just a fancy way of saying we've cut the edges.
Yes.
And so this is obviously our normal standard. Most of it comes like this, but there's different things.
Boring corners.
Yeah. But no one wants a square. Then we have these rounded edges.
Yep. So same size, just one has rounded edges, so that's sort of the difference you're going to see in size there.
I think this adds like a little elegance to it, just something a little different.
Yeah, just a little extra.
This is actually my personal favorite. It's the bracket. It's like 2 colons or something.
Yeah.
What's the?
Yeah.
So, brackets.
Curly brackets.
Yeah. I think it just makes it a little more special.
And this is one that we've seen a lot of designers really taking advantage of this shape and making their design fit in this shape, which turns out really lovely.
We have the scalloped. I like the scalloped. I think it's fun. It's quirky. This design looks well on it. It's a
for bridal showers.
Bridal shower.
We've seen a lot of really great baby shower designs on this. It's a little more fun.
This is a ticket to ride. I think these would be fun for like kids' parties. You have to have a ticket to enter. RSVPs.
Yeah, you can definitely get some fun themes on those.
Yeah. And then lastly is the tag. So there it comes with a little hole. So make sure when you design for that little hole.
Yes. Take that into account because you're going to miss a tiny bit of design right there.
Yeah.
Great.
And speaking of tags,
Speaking of tags,
we just launched gift tags. Was it last week?
yes.
We launched so many products all the
Yeah.
time.
Hard to keep track.
Yes. So these are the gift tags, and they're, I know a lot of people have been designing on like business cards for a while, and so now we actually have a solution that comes with this little hole. It's just like the tag, except it's smaller, and it actually comes on the matte paper that we talked about in the signature collection. So it has that very soft, buttery feel, and we're excited. And then it comes with, it comes in packets of 10, like this, sealed. And then you also get to choose, there's 4 different choices for your twine. And so this is the red and white. I know the color on the site for the gray looks very gray, but it's actually more neutral. And so that's kind of a very soft gray. And so I would say that looks the most neutral. And then we tried to choose colors, like obviously the red and white were more Christmas and design. And so to give you guys, different, to give consumers different options, but also, you don't have to use our twine. You can, there's tons of other options as well. Ribbon would probably look nice. And just make sure they fit in the hole.
And what's also great about these is that they don't need to just be gift tags. There's a lot of different things that these could be used for, such as price tags for your own little setup of selling handmade goods, things like that. Labels for different setups. There's a lot of different things you can do with these tags.
Yeah, actually, I've seen some creative people in like sales or like I think I saw one person put sold on it, and it was actually a business card for a real estate agent. So there's actually a lot of different things you can do. Like, think creative. Just because it's a gift tag doesn't mean you have to make a gift tag.
Yeah, maybe a party favor.
Yeah. So,
great.
wedding favors.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. So we're excited about all our papers. Papers obviously are a huge line for us, and so your designs are very important. I think what our customers like to see, like we said last time, these templates are going to be the easiest. I think anything that's easy to use, easy to switch out the name, those are the ones that sell the best. We've seen a lot of floral, Christmas cards sell really well recently. The holidays, I think, displaying yours on the craft collection with mason jars, those always do well. So we're excited for our new papers, and we hope you guys are too.
Yeah. Great. So we know paper is one of our more popular lines, and another one of our very popular lines is our electronics cases, and we've been adding quite a few of those lately. So do you have a few of those to show off for us?
So I, even before the day iPhone 6 announced, you might have noticed we already had iPhone cases on our site ready for pre-sale, and that's something we've really put in a lot of time and effort, our cases. And we obviously have our traditional, like our casemate cases, and those have been doing well, but we really wanted to add variety for our consumers who wanted something different. And one of the things that we added recently was the carved cases. And carved is
the name of the company, not a description of how the product is made.
Sorry for that distinction. It is actually made on real wood. So there's 3 different types of wood. Maybe so you can actually smell it. You can still smell the wood.
It is real wood.
And I love the detail that they actually sign the case.
Signatures as some of our friends at Carved.
But
there's the actual wood.
They're a really cool maker. They have a video on our site if you go to our maker section.
Yep. So Zazzle.com/makers, you'll see all the good information we have about our different partners, and quite a few of them have really great videos that give you a behind the scenes look of how they create their products.
But what I really like about this is it's wood, and it's real wood, and I think when you design, you want to make sure that your wood shows through. And so, when you do white, I think or I mean, just make sure you play around with the transparency, because one of the reasons they want to buy this is to showcase the nice wood, and I think it makes cases just look that much more elegant.
Yeah. So there's a lot of opportunity here to really make your design special on these wood cases and showcase that wood.
And from a sales perspective, these have done really well. Hint, hint. So, the more designs on it, the better.
Yeah.
Next is our Incipio.
Yes. So those are pretty new. And
yes.
What's special about the Incipio cases?
So, first of all, the Incipio, they actually come in the original packaging. We actually take them out, and these are actually printed in San Jose. And Incipio is actually the second largest case maker in the world, and so people are very familiar with the quality that they have. But
and does anyone else offer customizable Incipio cases?
No, I think Zazzle's the only.
Oh, it's just us. Well,
yeah.
That's exciting.
So what's exciting about them is they're actually metallic, and so our consumers like a lot of bling, as you know, and I think these provide the perfect backdrop for that metallic shine. So like the carved cases, there's the feather shine, which comes in 3 different finishes, I guess. They come in gold.
Okay. Let's see. I think this is the rose gold.
Yeah, this is the gold.
So you'll see that your whites and your transparents are actually going to show the metallic finish underneath there. So all of the gold that you're seeing in this design is the actual finish of the case.
Yeah. So we suggest like maybe setting your one of your colors transparent so that the metals show through. In the design tool, we actually have where you can take out the white, but you guys are advanced designers, you know how to do that, and so yeah, like it's really fun to see the metallic shine through, and it's like because the printing, it's got like a raised edge, and so it's got
there's a little bit of texture there.
Yeah,
and you see that these are actually not edge to edge printed. So your design will just be on the front, and you don't need to worry about making sure that it extends to the edges.
Yeah, I think when you design on this, because it's not edge to edge like a lot of our other cases, certain designs might not look as eye-catching, and so maybe design within the area.
So something that has a sharp border like this can certainly look good, but these really give you the opportunity to again showcase the metal of the case and just have a really nice design that's within that.
Yeah. And I think when the gold iPhone came out, it was such a huge, everyone waited in line just for the gold one. They didn't want the silver one, they didn't want the black wood, like the gold. And so I think this is similar, like people they want cases for their phone, but they also want people to know that they have the gold iPhone, and so this is kind of like something fun that you can still have a beautiful case and you can still see that it's gold. And speaking of wanting to see the phone underneath.
Yes.
Oh, no.
We actually have one other Incipio case.
We actually have 2 other Incipio cases. Sorry, I just got too ahead of myself. But, okay. So
many options.
Okay, this is actually my favorite case. Although, it's like, you can't really say your favorite because it's like your children, but it's like kind of my favorite case. But this is the Watson case. And so the Watson is actually really cool in the fact that it's 2 cases in one. And you guys might have noticed that in the design tool. But it's like a 2-in-1. You can design the cover. It's a vegan leather, and then there's this strap that holds it in place. But it's got a wallet case. So our PIOC wallet cases have been doing really well. People like the fact that if they're going out for a quick whatever,
you have everything all in one.
Yeah, you don't even need to bring your keys. You have your fingerprint or whatever, and soon you don't even need a wallet. But in the meantime, you can get a Watson case wallet, and there's 3 card slots. I can usually shove a couple more cards in there, and then you can take this out if you just need the case. But
so best of both worlds.
Yeah. So, what would be really cool is to have like a complementing design. We've seen some really cool ones already.
And so our vegan leather does have a little bit of texture to it, which is pretty nice. Gives it a little more class.
And it's got a very soft texture inside that protects the phone as well. So not only is it functional, it protects your phone and it's beautiful.
And what's the last Incipio case that we have?
So it's the Atlas case. So the Atlas case is really
for klutzes like me.
Also moms, anyone with kids. If you have toddlers, this is the new babysitter, and so the babysitter needs to be sturdy because a lot of these babies don't know how to handle your beautiful phones.
Yeah.
And so the Atlas case is really like probably one of our most rugged ones.
Okay. And still get all of your buttons.
So yeah, this would be great for anyone who more cares about the rigidness of their phones and stuff.
Lots of protection on that one.
So this is a bright color, so we really want to. I think the best designs are the ones that really pop against the heavier, darker colors.
Great.
And yeah, I would say probably the market for this is going to be moms, dads, anyone with small kids. And so when you design with that in mind.
Great.
And then.
So we were talking about wanting to see your actual phone.
Yes. And so this week, we just launched our Get Uncommon cases. And this is really exciting because they're actually clear. So I'm going to give you these two. So as you can see, it prints on a clear case. And so it's a very special ink that lets the design show through.
So even all of your colors are still going to be transparent. So your whites and your transparents are going to be transparent, and then your colors are actually still going to be a little bit see-through. See if we can give you a little better. And I know quite a few of you were having questions on the forums about these, so hopefully this can illustrate it a little bit better for you to get an idea of how your designs are going to look on these clear cases.
It's an easy snap-on, snap-off, just one case, but it's also very sturdy. But like I said, I think it's really like almost a fashionista segment who really likes to showcase their gold phone or their rose gold phone or whatever. And so I think this is a fun alternative, and I think the people that are most going to buy these are like a younger fashionista crowd. They probably don't have the young kids eating on the phone, and so they want to showcase their phone. And so designs that would do well, probably play with the Apple logo. You can be creative,
but of course don't use the actual logo.
Yeah, don't do any copyright infringement.
Yeah.
We'll have to unfortunately flag you for those. But these are just great for letting
for having your cake and eating it too.
Yeah, essentially. And so there's a clear, and then here's the frost.
Great. So this is still going to work the same way with your designs, but it's just going to have a little bit more of a frosted texture to it.
And I mean, we have so many cases, but one of the most exciting launches for this is the fact that with Uncommon, we actually just got a battery case. So
great.
I think a lot of people complain that Apple's
you can run through battery pretty quick on Facebook and Instagram and
browsing things. If you're on
shopping on Zazzle.
So we actually now have the first fully customizable battery case, and this is super fun because it gives you an extra full charge of your phone, and it's not even that much heavier. You have to take it off, and so basically the customizable design area is this full back edge, and you put on the bumper. It comes with accessories because when you have this, the headphone jack will be a little harder, but we've provided that as well. And so this is perfect for people traveling, perhaps, anyone who drains through their batteries really quickly. And this is also a really good Christmas gift. We know Christmas is coming up soon, so you want to get those designs up for teens who are on their phone all day texting. So yeah, we're really excited about this, and we hope you guys are excited as we are here.
Yeah, and in general, even though the holiday purchasing season is winding down a little bit, we do find a little bit of a spike in our electronics cases after the holidays because a lot of people are receiving the actual phones, iPads, things like that as gifts, and then the first thing they need is a nice case.
Yeah, so we see a little dip, and then right around Christmas we actually see this little spike. And so if you want to get those designs in now, for those...
Still a great time to be designing our electronics.
Yeah. I think we'll see sales improve for those a bit after the holiday, into the new year.
Yeah. Wonderful.
So I'm kind of hungry.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little peckish. Well, I have a few snacks for you.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. So, as I'm sure most of you have noticed, we've actually added quite a few food items, which is really exciting. We have an entire food hub now, lots of different customizable edibles that are really unique and really fun. So the first one that I have here is from our friends at Modern Bite, and they have these really great shortbread cookies that come in round or square. And we wanted to give you a little bit better of an idea of the design area and kind of how to think about these designs, since this is very different from printing ink on paper.
Yeah, and I think, we just did our relaunch of paper. We have our own paper factory. Food is definitely new for us, and I think it's really hard for us to think, oh, I just want to design something just like my invitation, but you have to remember, we're literally printing on icing, and this is edible icing, and so there's a lot of limitations. And so we've been able to talk to our makers who make this. This is, and they are experts in their field, and they've given us some tips on what looks good and what doesn't.
So it's been a really great process of all of our designers submitting their great designs, and then us hearing back from our friends like at Modern Bite to see how those designs work out. So I have two examples here of a design that turns out really, really great and a design that we might want to take another look at. So here's our square cookie. Give you a little bit of an idea there. So this is a little more of a simple design, larger design elements, not a lot of detail, really big, bold font. So it's nice and readable. It still looks really beautiful. And we also have our round cookie. Another beautiful design. But we're seeing there's a lot more detail here and some real small text in a really thin font. And that's real hard to print on a small area like this and on that soft surface like frosting. So for a design like this, I would take another look, see if you can increase the font size, and also take another look at our font options and maybe go with a bolder font. Because that real fine detail with the little swirlies of our pretty fonts can be really hard to print on these. And we want to make sure that when our customers are receiving them, they're loving them, you're getting more sales, you're not seeing any cancellations. So hopefully that will illustrate a little bit more of how these designs turn out on the cookies.
Yeah, and speaking of, that was Modern Bite.
Yeah, and so they come in a package of 4 or 1 dozen, and they come in this really nice little box with a pretty ribbon, some information from Modern Bite there for you, and they actually, there's a little bit of bubble wrap in here as well to keep your cookies from crumbling.
We have another maker who also does cookies, but they also they do cake pops as well. And so Veronica's Treats, I was able to speak to the maker, and she is very passionate about this, which is great. But she was telling me that those cookies are actually, I think, 2 inches in diameter, and the cake pops are like 1 inch. And so
so very, very small design area, even smaller than these cookies.
As you can see by my hand, these are the cookies that come on the cake pops.
So
this is the Veronica's Treat cake pop cookie. And so she was telling me that she just sees a lot of these designs, which are really beautiful, but when you put them like the fine detail. You'll notice this one, it says Happy Holidays, and you can barely make it out.
So again, a really lovely design, very hard to read on such a small area. So we again advise using bigger design elements, not a whole lot of detail, and really that bold font is what's going to help you out.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at it on the site, it's a beautiful print, and so we're not dissing the design at all. I think it's a beautiful design. It's just, again, there are limitations to printing on edible icing.
Yep, so this is a product that we'd really advise you to think of the product first when you're designing. A lot of times the designs you already have will look great on these, and they might need some tweaking, or really you can think of the product first and then see what design would really go well on it.
Yeah, so let me just kind of come up to the camera again. So it says Happy Holidays from I can't even read that, from the something family. And so, if you're spending this kind of money on your cookies, you really want to be able to read it. And this one says, I can't really read out what it says. And I just don't want our consumers to get kind of a bad experience if they, on our site, it says warm winter wishes. Here's a great example. Here's one that says joy. And I think it's supposed to be a wreath. But again,
and these are our chocolate dipped Oreos.
Yeah, the details is very small. And so think of the size of an Oreo. I love Oreos, by the way. This is not an endorsement. But the size of our Oreos, and think, especially if you notice we have the sprinkled cake pop one, think of taking some of the...
much smaller area.
Yeah, so this is, like I said, this is a very small area. And I mean, the fact that we can print on ink is kind of amazing.
Yeah.
But I just want to make sure.
You're going to see the ink on paper is going to be really vibrant, things like that. So on frosting, you're not going to have quite as much contrast as you would see on paper.
Yeah, and again, this one has a really thin font. I think it says "Oh Holy Night," but from I can't even read that. So we just don't want our consumers to have a bad experience. In contrast,
again, not an issue with the designs themselves, just something to really think about when you're designing, since real life can definitely be a little different than what we see on the site.
In contrast, you sent up some good designs. This one has a little bolder font.
More easily readable designs.
And with the contrast of the black and the blue, it's very easy. Thank you, Olivia. I don't know who Olivia is, but thanks. This one says Lauren. It's got the pink on the white, and so obviously easy to read. This is a cute one. Holy cow, I'm 50. I'm not 50, by the way. But again, this is just a really easy to see. It kind of leverages the frosting. It's like the transparency thing. Actually, this one has design, but it's actually, you can see what it is. It says merry and bright. And it's just it's a beautiful design without being too detail oriented. And so, happy Hanukkah. Again, easy to read, and I think that's what our consumers will like. So, I want to eat these now. But before, why don't we take some questions?
Yeah. Do we have any questions from Twitter? All right. Let's see. Ooh. So with all of our new paper, what paper do we think is best for wedding invitations?
That's kind of like asking someone what clothes is best for,
Thursday.
There's just, it depends what you're doing on Thursday, right? If you're like us, you could be wading through water.
Yes, we have quite the new lake outside.
So I think it really depends on the bride and usually the bride, maybe the groom sometimes, but what they want. So like we said, there's some people who are going for the more traditional, conservative, and they like our traditional line, the column and delayed, and it's just a very elegant look. And then there's some people who like the rustic mason jar in a barn. All that stuff's over Pinterest, and they'll probably like the craft or the felt. And so it really depends on your design. And I think I think the Lux would look really good on like shimmery. If you want like the Disney princess, if you have a big gown, something like that.
Yeah. Great. Do we have a recommendation for what paper is best for photo cards?
You know, I mean, we tried to show you some examples so you could see the picture. I think, the semi-gloss has a nice shine, but it really, and the Luxe looks beautiful because it adds some glimmer, but it really depends on what kind of look and feel you're going for. I think skin tone will look very different on all of them, and so really, again, really depends on what our consumer and our customer will want.
So this is our semi-gloss and this is one of our shimmer.
Yeah. So as you can see, this is a very vibrant, but if you look at this closely, this kind of brings out, a subtle, subtle beauty.
We've seen a few different samples, and for the lighter colored shimmer, pretty much any design pops on these. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Here's a good question. So the tips that we were talking about for designing these smaller items like cookies, would we say that's also true for our wine charms?
Yes, I would. I think the wine charms, they are a very small design area. It's not as fragile since we're printing it on paper, and the cookies are on ink. But I think whenever you design a small area, make sure that
not a lot of details going to come through there. The wine charms are pretty small. I think they're maybe just a tad smaller than the cookies on our cake pops. So something like monograms works really well. One simple graphic, something like that.
Yeah, and in the end, think about the use. Like, when are people going to be using wine charms? Probably at parties, and something that easily differentiates what cups yours, especially after a couple glasses, you want to be able to see what's on your charm pretty easily.
Yeah. Great. Let's see. So the cookies, we know how they look and what looks really great on them, but how do they taste?
They are really delicious. I wish I could order more.
Yeah, unfortunately we can't share the taste with you.
But you can order them. I really, really like the cake pops. I like that they're really moist. I mean, all of that tastes good, otherwise we wouldn't offer it on our site. But my personal favorite is the cake pops and the Oreo pops. I mean, Oreo's pretty standard, but cake pops, it's got this really nice, soft moisture to it. But the cookies last a little longer, and if you're gonna give them to people, I think the cookies are a great.
Yeah, they're a good option.
Gift, yeah.
I'm a fan of the Modern Bite cookies. They're similar to a shortbread cookie, so if that's your style as far as cookies go, I'd recommend those.
Yeah, but again, we taste tested them thoroughly. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And if it's not good, we won't offer on our site. So.
Go through a lot of hardship. Great. Okay. Oh, for our paper types, do we have any plans to add foil or foil look printing or a transparent vellum option?
We just did our paper launch, but we're always looking to upgrade, and I think that's something that's, I think foil is very elegant, and so we're definitely looking at adding that. It's not off the table. We're just trying to develop the technology in-house first, but stay tuned. It's something we're working on.
Yeah. Definitely something that would be posted in the forums if we do add that. Let's see. Oh, the products on the wall behind us. So we did have a little upgrade to our set, which we're pretty excited about. So some of the different products that we have up here are some of our favorites.
Yeah, so this is obviously our mugs, but these are our Ipster sunglasses. They're really fun. They're for the parties. I think New Year's, a lot of people will have fun with them.
Yes, nice novelty shades.
We have ping pong paddles and ping pong balls. So the ping pong paddles sell really well. It's just a really fun gift to give. Personalized ping pong paddles. What else?
Over there we have one of our dry erase boards in the cute little speech bubble shape, as well as
Invitations and an iPad case.
Mm-hmm. And over here, if you can see, we have one of our clutch purses, a liquid courage flask, a wall clock, one of our notebooks, and another little iPhone case.
Yeah, so we're always trying to get more products that you guys can design on, and we're trying to source good products. So if you guys, I know you guys keep us updated, but we have some really exciting things coming in the new year that we're really excited.
Mm-hmm.
And we know you guys will be excited, but I just don't want to spoil it yet. But I just stay tuned, because we have been listening to your guys' comments and feedback. We have been sourcing good stuff. It's just in the works, and so we're really excited for the coming new year.
Yeah, if you have ideas of new products that you would really like to see us add, feel free to chime in on the forums. I check there every week. Let's see. Okay, looks like some people may have missed our tips on the new cases about how white and transparent will print. So for our new Get Uncommon cases, these are the clear cases. Both transparent and white will print as transparent. So if you have any white in your design, it will come out clear here. So in this design, if the Life is Perfect was in white on your design, it will come out like this with the clear right through the case.
And like I said earlier, the Incipio cases, the Feather Shine, one of the greatest features is that it is metallic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's nice to let the metallic show through. So we do have a feature on the design option where you can go in and check a box and it takes out the white, but it only takes out true whites. So if you you can go into Photoshop and kind of do that, make that transparent. I think that's a better option.
Yep. So these are going to be a little bit different. They work a little more like our dark apparel, where white will be white unless you check off that white says transparent, and then your transparent will show this nice metallic.
Yeah. And I don't think I mentioned that earlier, but inside there's this little nice self cushion, and this has got a really strong EVA plastic, metal, and so it's a very lightweight but sturdy case.
Yeah.
And I think these will do really well. Again, these are Incipio's the number 2 case seller in the entire world, and so it's awesome to have a custom Incipio only from Zazzle.
Yeah. Great. Let's see. So here's a question about our consumers. Do we think people are still purchasing cases for an iPhone 2, 3, 4, or should our designers really be focusing only on the iPhone 5 and 6 and the newest Galaxy?
I would say most of our consumers are buying the 5 or 6. There's probably a couple late adopters who are still buying those, but for the most part, if you're doing new designs and you, gun to your head, only had 10 minutes or half an hour, I don't know how long it takes to design a case, I would focus maybe on the latest ones. I think for the Galaxy, we do have the Galaxy 5, but I think a lot of people are still buying Galaxy 4 cases as well. Not as many people are buying iPhone 2 cases anymore.
So maybe for those, focus a little more on the newer ones.
Yeah.
Okay, do we think there will be an Atlas case for the iPhone 6?
We do, but because, the iPhone 6 really did just launch, it depends on a couple things, but we definitely hope to add that in the future to fulfill out our product line.
Okay, and one last question to take another look at our cookie tips. So as far as font sizes and things like that go, it's pretty hard to overall say here is the number of font size that you should be looking at, because all of our fonts are a little bit different. I believe in our design tool we do have a lower limit for font size. I believe it's 1. So you'll want to think about that in terms of specifically which font you're picking. So that one is going to be smaller or larger depending on the font that you're using. But in general, we would recommend staying away from the very thin fonts, very skinny fonts, like Strange Love is an example of a font that might be hard to read on the smaller cookies or cake pops.
And it's really hard to say that there's a limit because, as you know, each font is so different.
Yeah.
And so really focus on maybe a bolder fonts, ones without the thin wispy lines. I think those will do better. So it's hard for us to say there's a font limit, especially when you can import your own design in. But I would say really focus on making sure it's legible.
Yep. And bolder design elements.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so I think that will wrap it up for our questions. Just to wrap everything up, do you have anything you can share as a little bit of a sneak peek for the coming year?
Yeah, so I mean, I think, you know, with Christmas starting in July, some people are like, oh, is Christmas over yet? Just kidding, it's not. But I think it's fun when I think we're actually starting to work on our New Year campaign already. And we're looking for current designs. We have our New Year, New You, but we're kind of taking a more sarcastic spin on it this year. We're kind of almost going to make fun of people who make New Year's resolutions and can't keep them. So if you guys have any snarky designs, or like, you know, instead of staying fit, maybe, you know, eat, drink, and be merry.
Yeah.
Those are some designs that we're looking for our New Year's campaign.
Yeah, so we'll still be looking for your traditional resolutions, staying fit, things like that, motivational designs. But we'd also like to have a little bit of fun with it. So if you have some more entertaining designs,
anything with bacon.
Bacon usually does well.
Yeah, somewhere along those lines. Staying at home instead of going out. You know, we want to poke fun at, you know, the fact that every year, you know, we think we're gonna make resolutions, and
last until about January 3rd.
Yeah. So if you guys can get those designs up, we'll be looking for those soon.
Yeah. So keep that in mind, and also start thinking ahead to Valentine's Day. Never too early.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Oh, okay. So, one last little thing. Our customer support team is wonderful. We love them. They're really hardworking. They're here all the time. So, please feel free to contact them, and they'll be happy to help. Let's see. And to rural France, thank you for reaching out to us. Okay, so I think that's all we have for today, and we'll definitely keep you posted on our next Zazzle chat. Thanks for
let us know
tuning
if you have
in.
any questions.
Yep.